in terms of the Florida virtual school, who can go to this school? Is it private? Do they have to pay to be able to go to that school? And is it just available for students in Florida?
Actually, Florida Virtual, I can literally take a course from them if I want to. I probably am not going to take the course in Phi-Ed after all, but I could. And the cost is considerably less than it would be to go to a private school. I think it's around $4,000 a year. They do have a global services division. They have about 2,000 students in that right now. So it's a growing part of the organization, but it's still a very small component. Most of the students are in Florida because in Florida you can take the course without paying for it. It's paid for by the state. Instead of going to your local high school for all 12 of your courses each year, you go maybe for 8, and then you take the other 4 from Florida Virtual. And then the state pays Florida Virtual for 4 courses, and for the 8 courses, the money goes to the district. So that's how the financing works in that case. And that kind of flexibility on the financial side is going to be extremely important for this to develop, because unless you can have some mix and match depending on what courses you want to take where, it's not going to, that's what I mean when I say you got to have a flexible system which allows for hybrid kind of educational experiences. Whether or not one is going to be able to do that in other places than Florida, I don't know. It depends probably on how successful the Florida experiment proves to be. Right now there's 200,000 courses being offered in Florida, probably 50,000 more than 2 years ago. I expect we're going to see it to 1 million courses within the next 5 years.
Well, if we teach to the kids and not content, which I couldn't agree with more, and we start doing targeting more individualized education, doesn't this render moot MCAS, standardized testing? If, for instance, you mentioned 1 million different curriculums, isn't the standardized testing becoming passé as well? Isn't that what?
Yes, I passed over that part. I was running short on time, and I should not have. So thank you for bringing that question up. But yeah, I think that we've gone that route, and it's not working. We have. That's the ultimate in centralized control. So once you took schools out of the home and out of the community, and teachers no longer felt responsible for the children they were educating because they were subjected to all these regulations, then you had to impose some kind of a new accountability system. And the state accountability systems weren't good enough. You had to have a federal one. You had to have a No Child Left Behind one. You had to reach every child, no child left behind, and the federal government had to do it. It is the apotheosis of centralized education. It's not worked. It's not worked. There's no sign that, well, there's some signs that a little testing can have some benefits, but to think that this can be the mechanism for the transformation of our educational system, no way.
I'm sorry I was late. I was at the Harvard Law School learning about Google and open source, but so competing interests. This is near and dear to my heart because I'm an entrepreneur in this particular space with distance learning. My question to you is, I'll give you an example. I met a young lady at MIT who was homeschooled in Utah, not for religious reasons, but just because her family wanted to do it. But she was involved in an international high school component where not only was she taking courses, but she sort of had a sister school in Israel and one, I believe, in Singapore, and she was able to get her degree. And ultimately, she was accepted with honors into BU. And you mentioned about being able to take courses. Are you aware of any other programs that allow students to, like, in other words, their zip code or their geographic location would not preclude them having access to resources commensurate with their actual capabilities and not by virtue of birth?
Thank you for that.